Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Real Shift Show. I'm Katy Temple.
I'm Anna Crowe.
The Real Shift Show is about change makers, entrepreneurs, artists, people that have gone through major shifts, small shifts, medium-sized shifts, whatever it's taken to get them closer to their authentic selves.
And today we have the esteemed pleasure of having one of my favorite humans on the show. We have the Spanish renowned author, journalist, and speaker, Francesc Miralles. Francesc is most commonly known for his role as a co-author of Ikigai, which is the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. And stay tuned because we are going to do a giveaway later for this book too. But Francesc, we are so excited to have you on. Thank you for joining us all the way from Barcelona.
Thank you very much for having me here. And it will be a great pleasure to talk about purpose and about shifts, that it has a very narrow relationship.
Let's start with that. Some people may have heard the term Ikigai. Some people live and breathe it every day, and some have no idea. Give us a little bit of an overview of what is Ikigai.
Yes, Ikigai is one of these mysterious Japanese words that don't have a direct translation, only with one word. So we can say that Ikigai is reason to live, purpose in life, the reason why you get up in the morning and you stay motivated. That's Ikigai. Actually, the word is formed by two terms. Iki means life. Gai is something worth doing it. So it's a life worth being lived, actually, literally.
And Ikigai is not your first book. You had written several others in the past. So tell us about that shift and what were you becoming before the success that you've had, the global success of Ikigai?
Before Ikigai, I had written many books and I had a lot of translations with novels, with other things, but they were not so popular. So what happened is that sometimes the real shift comes in a very unexpected way and you don't provoke it even. So you must keep going and sometimes something happens. And with Ikigai, what happened was that a couple of friends, Hector Garcia and me, we wanted to travel to some unexpected place in Japan. He was already living there. And we went to the island of Okinawa, to a very small village in the north called Ogimi, because this village was in the Guinness Book of Records, the place with more centenarians every 1,000 inhabitants. So we wrote a book and we thought it would be a book for Japan freaks, for people very specialized in these readings. We thought, okay, maybe the people learning how to haiku, they also want to see how the Japanese centenarians live. But we published the book in a small publishing house in Spain, and after 2 months, we had already 10 translations, 15, 20, 30. It was published in the United States. Oprah Winfrey put it in her blog as Book of the Week. And so all this happened, this magic. So the real shift was that before Ikigai, I was called to talk about many different things. Creating, writing, about psychology, about resilience, about many things, communication. And after publishing that book, 99% of people want me to talk about Ikigai only. So it become more monothematic.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, yeah, but let me tell you about this. I'm like, no, let's go back to Ikigai. Amazing.
When did you know that you were onto something different?
When you're a writer, you notice it by your email. So, for instance, I wrote a novel called The Moon Library, and I thought this novel would be very important. I thought it had been the most important writing of my life. But I never got a single email of somebody who said that he or she had read this novel and it was important. I didn't have any feedback from anyone. But we published Ikigai, and after only 1 week, I was receiving 50, 60, 70 messages a day, and after 2 months, maybe 500, even from people who I admired. A football player from Holland that I had seen since I was a kid, he was writing me about Ikigai. So then I thought, this is important for the world. I didn't expect that.
So cool. What do you think that the people of Okinawa have that the rest of the world doesn't? Why are they so dialed in being clear on their purpose?
It's a mixture of things. They have a very good food quality and diet because they eat according the law of 80%, harahachibu. It means that they stop eating a bit before they feel full. So they are always keeping a bit of hunger for the next meal. And it has been proven that it's very good for longevity. They practice a lot of soft exercise. They walk a lot. They are outside. This is also important because when you are outside home, then you have your inner clocks synchronizing the outer clock, that is the sun. You sleep better, you have better digestion, you have better energy in your body. And then there were two key factors. One is relationships. The people of this village, they have 2,700 people. They treat each other not like neighbors, not like friends, but like family. So you care for your neighbor and you invite him for dinner, for lunch, and people are always together and they have a very strong sense of community. So it's like a feeling of the old tribes, and it gives you self-esteem and you don't feel alone. You are responsible for the happiness of the others. They are responsible for yours. So it makes easier to live. And the last point that gave the title to the book is that they have an Ikigai. They have something that they love to do and they do it every day. This is a rural community, so the Ikigai has to do with gardening, with working in the fields, and also visiting friends. But if we would ask for Ikigai in a city like San Diego, Barcelona, any other place, maybe there would be artistic Ikigais, technological. So, but in that place, I would say that 100% of the interviews, everybody was happy because they had something in their daily life with a very strong sense of meaning.
Yeah, you talk a lot about meaning, obviously, in the book. You also cover this concept of flow.
Yes, we dedicated one chapter to this book, and actually, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi wrote us, and he said, your book is the place where I have seen a better summary of my theory. And he was very happy with the book of Ikigai. Yes. And what is flow? Flow has a lot to do with happiness, with excellence, and with the feeling of time. When you are bored doing something, for you, 1 minute can feel like 1 hour because you are counting every second. When you are doing something that you are passionate about, 1 hour feels like 1 minute. So the flow state of mind is when you are doing something and you are so compromised with the thing, so absorbed by the activity that you lose the sense of time. So maybe you are 4 hours cooking or dancing or writing or doing something that you love, and then you say, I have the impression that I started one minute ago. That's flow. And the conditions for experiencing flow is that you do only one thing. So you cannot do multitasking with flow, because if you do many things, you are lowering the quality of everything that you do. So flow requires that you are totally absorbed by this activity, only one thing, something that you feel you have some ability, that it's easy for you to do it, and something that even has a purpose, that you feel that there is a why in this. For instance, if you are a jazz player and you are playing in front of people and you notice that people is happy, maybe it increases your flow, that you are doing something that you love, but it's having impact in the world.
That's great. Did you have a question?
Yeah, of
Go,
course.
please, sorry.
Well, I mean, I'd love to know how you connect flow with purpose. And I mean, the bigger question is, how do we find our purpose if we don't know what it is?
Actually, when we wrote Ikigai, the main exercise to identify your Ikigai is the so-called 4 circles. So the first circle is what you love. And what you love has a lot to do with flow. Normally, what you love gives you a state of flow. For instance, if you love playing football, You could play hours. You won't notice the passing of time. So when you want to identify the first circle, what you love, you are identifying something that you're passionate about, that gets you flowing, and that it's easy for you. That's something that you are gifted for that. Then there is a second circle of Ikigai called what you are good at, and this is more exactly the talent. We all are born with different talents, and more than one normally, but sometimes we explore only one, and there is something that we keep it, and maybe when we are in the gold age, by the end of our lives, we develop that. But for instance, you can say, for me, it's very easy to explain complicated things in an easy way. This can be a gift. Or for me, it's very easy motivating people. Or what is easy for me is to create, but I need to do it in a lonely way. So this is what you are good at. So when you combine what you love and what you are good at, then you have a passion. Then it's possible that appears the third circle is what you can be paid for. If I love cooking and I am good at cooking, maybe I want to open a restaurant. Maybe I want to organize a catering or do something with that. And then the fourth circle is what the world needs. And maybe this is the circle with more purpose, because you can find your Ikigai starting by that. You can ask yourself, what does the world need right now? Maybe kindness, because we watch the news on TV and we see a lot of bad words, a lot of violence, a lot of corruption, of all the things that make us sad. Then if what the world needs is kindness, then we go to the first two circles and to say, okay, what I love and what I am good doing that, how can I bring kindness to the world? So these are the four circles of Ikigai, and if you do this exercise more or less once a year, you can see how your Ikigai changes, because when you change personally, when you change internally, your Ikigai changes too. So there are normally 6-7 strong purposes through your life.
Well, let me ask a practical question. Let's say we have listeners or viewers saying, well, that sounds all great. I'd love to live my life, be aligned and with purpose, but I don't have enough experience, or I haven't worked in a long time. Are there steps that people can take regularly to shift into those four circles?
I would say the first thing you need to do is to liberate time. If you are always running, it's impossible to find your purpose in life, because you are in urgency. You are running and doing this and doing that. And as Stephen Covey said, what is urgent means that this is important for another person, but not for you. And normally what we do is to put all the urgent things in our agenda, and we leave the important thing in case we have time, and we never have time, and then we postpone it. So I would say, if you want to start looking for your Ikigai, first, make an appointment with yourself, go to your favorite coffee, bring your notebook, bring your pen, and then at least 1 hour a week or 2 hours a week, you take your notes, you examine your life. Where are you happy? Where are you unhappy? What you should start, what you should abandon. And then this exercise of reflection would liberate creativity to say, okay, I think that in that field, I can do it better. So that's one thing. And then when you identify what you want to do, what I recommend, for instance, to writers is start your day writing.
I really appreciate the fact that some of what you said goes back to connecting with yourself, stillness, awareness, which is a resounding theme from a lot of our guests with regards to creating change, to give yourself time and space. And yes, in a busy world, in a hectic world, in a world where we're connected to devices and other things, it is one of the hardest things to do. But I love how you stress the importance of it, and it works.
I think you need some kind of discipline. Sometimes we relate the discipline with formal work, but for the spiritual things, you also need discipline. So if you're training yourself for a marathon, you are going to run every day. If you don't do it that, you cannot go to New York to run it. So the same happens with an artistic project, with anything you want to do, you need to take it so as seriously as a very well-paid job.
What's interesting about that is that you're right about people thinking about discipline with work, because people are committed to work and they're focused, got to, put food on the table. I just wonder how much capacity that the brain has for discipline.
It depends on the people. There is a thing that has to do with character. There are people that are very disciplined since they are kids, and there are people who are more dispersed in the way that they get distracted easily. Yeah. And these people need to train, first of all, attention. For instance, they need to train to do only one thing at the same time, and doing it with all your attention and all your senses on that. And then you can start maybe reading a book. I know a lot of people who are not able to read a book because they don't pay attention to that. They are trying to look what happens in the cell phone, what happens here. Their thoughts are running like a carousel all the time. So maybe a good exercise is sit on the sofa and be 20 minutes reading a book, but doing only that, like a mindfulness exercise. And from there, you can get more discipline every time.
Start with 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Start with 5.
10, 2. Gotta start somewhere.
Right, you got to start somewhere.
All right, we have time for one more question. You've got a question?
I'm just curious about people that are in a lot of pain. You talked about everything going on in the world today. And what do you say to people who feel like, yes, I want to do this or I want to do that, I feel like it's too late?
It's never too late. Something very beautiful that we have discovered writing 3 different books of Ikigai, because we wrote afterwards about the practical exercises of Ikigai, and another book was for young people, for children and teachers. And what we discovered is that many people find their Ikigai when they retire. Why? It's a matter of time. When you are young, you need to invest a lot of energy studying, learning, finding a job, getting a better position. Then maybe you marry, you must take care of your kids, and you still have parents. You have to take care of parents. When you are 60, 65, that kids fly alone and parents maybe are dead, that you don't have anybody on the top or below you. Then you finish your work and you are totally free. You have a big amount of time. And in this moment, there is a very nice English word for that, the late bloomers. And we know cases of late bloomers who have written their first book with 80. People who go to college, who go to university, maybe it was an old dream, and they are doing this with 70, with 75. So the quality of life has improved so much. Before, when I was a kid, a man who was 80 was somebody maybe with a stock. Nowadays, there are people who are fantastic. So it depends in how have you lived.
Yeah, and we could steal some of that from the Japanese as well as from the other blue zones.
Right, from the other blue zones,
with the diets and the movement and the community. Right. Yeah.
Well, community is nice because the idea is that you're thinking about others before you're thinking about yourself, which is always a very healthy thing to do.
Yeah. Well, Francesc, this has been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
I think our viewers and listeners got some really great insights. I know I always do when I chat with you. Yeah. Katy did too.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we will be giving away 1 copy of Ikigai to our audience. Oh, and by the way, you mentioned you have a copy for kids as well, right?
Yes, it's Ikigai for teens.
We might do 2 then.
That'd be great.
What we would love to hear from our viewers and listeners on our channel is, how have you embraced this concept? What change are you considering making? What can you do for yourself? Anything and anything that relates to this concept of identifying what you love, identifying what the world needs, and all of that. Any other asks?
Yeah, and we want to know what you thought of this interview and what shifted you in your brain in all the beautiful things that he said.
And until we see you again, everyone, don't forget to go make real shift happen. We'll see you soon.